Hello and welcome to another episode of the DTF Podcast.
Hey, I got a bone to pick.
Guys, I am so fired up.
Sleep deprived and all. I'm happy to be here.
You probably cut off your hot dog. You don't need it on a bun.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the DTF Podcast, the Dauster, T.O. and Fanta Podcast here on the Field of 68 Media Network. We are presented by our partners over at BetMGM. My name is Rob Dauster. I have with me John Fanta, who is now my daughter's favorite person in the entire world. She's still devastated that she wasn't able to get a picture with you, Fanta, but she walked into my office the other day and I still have your thank you card from the wedding sitting on my desk. And she walked in and she goes, "Oh, it's Fanta. Who's that girl with him?" I was like, "Oh,
it got real.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Tio, how
man.
you doing, man?
LLJF. Ladies love John Fanta.
Yeah, that's
MILF.
a better
MILF.
That's
Man,
a
I love
better-
Fanta.
I was going to say that's a better acronym than what I saw last week with MILF. Man, I love Fanta.
Oh man, that's good.
It's awesome.
Fanta, at least people like you, man. All that my mentions are right now is why I'm an idiot, why I'm an asshole, why I'm so dumb, why do I put
Everybody
up
hates you.
Everyone hates me. Like UConn fans hate me, Providence fans hate me, everybody hates me right now. Rico Bosco's fans hate me. I don't know what's going
Why
on.
would UConn fans hate you? Why
Yes.
would UConn fans hate you?
They think I'm a fake fan. That's like the
Oh,
new thing is
come on.
Dauster is a fake fan. Like he's not a big enough fan because he doesn't cry anytime somebody loses a game. He's like, I don't know.
Well, you're wearing a Providence sweatshirt right now.
No, I'm wearing an Adidas sweatshirt, man. More is possible. Look at that. More is possible.
Just making sure.
More is possible. T.O., how you doing, man? It's been a while since we were able to chat.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I feel like a John Fanta schedule. I had 4 games in 4 days, and then I have today with you guys, and then tomorrow one more, and then I got 3 days for Thanksgiving. So,
Great
Feels
win
good.
last night.
Yeah,
Great
they
win
won.
by the Hornets.
Beat the Celtics. How about the Hornets? Finally got one. We needed one bad. No, it's been good. It's been fun. I had a chance to call the Georgetown American game, which was an electric factory. Jaden Epps scored the last 17 points of regulation or something like something crazy. He went nuts. He's explosive. Americans got this little guard named Elijah Stevens that I'm a huge fan of, and I think Dwayne Simpkins is going to do a good job there. So it was a fun game. There weren't a lot of people there, which was unfortunate, but these things take time. And you want to talk about, we saw some aerial shots of that arena, and there is not many people there. And that stuff is going to take time. It's kind of like one of those chicken or the egg scenarios. Like, what comes first, winning and then fans, or is it fans and then winning? Like, which one is it? And unfortunately, I think it's winning then fans.
You got to show some promise. You don't have to win, but there has to be a reason to get excited about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they don't need to sit here and go like 12-6 in the Big East and compete for a Big East championship. But you have to have a team that's good enough to be competitive to get you excited about going in and seeing it right. And I think that Ed will be able to do that. I don't know if he realized how long the process would be. And look, T.O., is that the first time that you've been to a Georgetown home game?
We did it in studio.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We did it in studio in Charlotte. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
the biggest concern with that place is that it's an NBA arena that holds like 18,000 people, and they get like 2,000 to show
it's
up.
not a problem for Marquette.
Yeah,
because they're
you gotta
good.
start-
They get fans to show up.
That's right.
Yeah, but you have to start somewhere. They've got to start winning games.
Yeah.
They have to give people a reason to believe. They have to give people a reason to believe. I mean, that's the job of Ed Cooley this year. This team is a long, long way away. This program's a long, long way away. I mean, they're going to win. If I'll be candid here, if Georgetown went 7-13 in the Big
That's good.
East,
They should
that
be
would-
thrilled.
they should be thrilled.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably not there. If they win more than 7 Big East games, I'd be shocked. If they win, I think they'll probably win like 6. To be quite honest with you, because here's the deal: they don't have enough. Now they're still waiting for Ishmael Massoud, but Terrence, you just had him on Sunday, and it's very clear that the only guy that was going to get the basketball late in the game was Jaden Epps.
But
And
Dontrez Styles has been good.
he's been good. Credit to him. You know what?
Yeah.
Better than probably anybody could have expected.
Yeah.
But,
He's really improved his three ball. He's improved. They just don't have enough, and I think they're putting a lot on Rowan Brumbaugh's shoulders. Rowan, he's a good player. I'm not sure he's quite ready, which is kind of why you saw Ed Cooley coach his butt off the whole way through that Rutgers game, because he realized, like, hey, Rowan's not there, but I need to have him in this environment because we're going to need him come Big East time where we might squeak one or two out.
Yeah, I think
they're not quite.
They will. They'll figure it out once they get there, and I think once Ed kind of figures out the who he has and what they can actually do in certain situations, and I think Massoud is a big one to get back because it's that like stretch four that can kind of space things out. But they are not an upper echelon Big East team. No. We could probably have an argument about like what actually is an upper echelon Big East team this year. But
yeah, there's three of them.
I don't need T.O. getting in any more trouble with the Big East faithful on Twitter. Those are our guys.
There's three of them in the upper echelon, and then one that's kind of flirting with it.
Yeah, and there is one that's flirting with it. We're going to find out about that one this week at the Battle for Atlantis, that being Villanova. Yes. They ran Maryland off the floor. Now Maryland has gotten off to a poor start to the year. They've been one of the biggest disappointments in college.
We're going to get to that. Don't go into disappointments yet. That's one of the things that we have on the list. It's you're jumping ahead on the rundown, Fanta. You're jumping ahead on the rundown. I will just say real quick about Providence. They 30-pieced Wisconsin in their own building. I think they ended up winning by 13, but they were up by 30 in the second half. And then Wisconsin went down to Fort Myers and beat a good Virginia team by 24. 20, like that was I mean, are you going to beat up on Tony Bennett like that? That's gross to me. So Providence struggled in where were they?
They didn't struggle. They
had a good weekend.
They had a good weekend.
They were at the Baha Mar. They had a good weekend.
Kansas State's a heartbreaker for them. They had that game. Credit to Kansas State.
What I was going to say is they lost that game and they didn't get a chance to go against Miami in the next round because they didn't have Jaden Pierre, and then Garway Wall did his best Chuck Liddell. Sorry, go ahead, Fanta. I cut you off.
Was that an elbow or a punch?
Oh, that was a punch.
That was a punch.
It was. I think he threw a punch and missed him and connected with his elbow. I got it. Look, you know what? I don't. You shouldn't fight. Okay, you shouldn't do that. But
I wouldn't fight Duval.
He ate that shit like a champ.
Yeah,
like he took that punch and was like, "Oh yeah, that's all you got. Let's go. I'm right here."
Yeah, and it's. I'll
tell
you
what. Bad look. That was a really bad look for him.
For Garway?
It was a bad look for him. It was a bad look for him. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. There were a couple of looks like that this past weekend across the country in college basketball. That we saw. The dual one's the worst. I mean, but Providence is good. They are a good team. Are they in the upper echelon? I don't think we're going to say that.
Not if Bryce Hopkins is going to shoot 14% from three.
Well, and that's just it. Like, that's probably the most impressive thing about this start to the season. We all thought it would go through Hopkins, and it hasn't. But I'm gonna transition briefly, and I am going to give Terrence his flowers during this Thanksgiving week, because while Virginia got blown out by Wisconsin, and that was a performance where I thought the desperation came out of Wisconsin, if not now, then when.
Right.
The ACC is a good league, an improved league, and Clemson is the real deal.
They're really good. No, it's a much better league this year than it has been in years past, and I think it's I think right now, would you have 5 in your top 25, Fanta? And hey, look, early in the season you're going to lose some. Yeah, early in the season you're going to lose some games, but if I'm the ACC, I'm pretty happy. I am upset at Wake though, because gosh, they cannot get a quad 1 win in non-conference to save their life over the last 2 years, and they had a good couple of opportunities in Charleston. That was disappointing.
T.O., you mentioned before we got on the call, we're going to do biggest surprises, biggest disappointments, and some other stuff here in a second. But you said that Clemson is not a surprise before we got on. No. Why?
Because Chase Hunter has been good for a long time. Like last year, he was probably the most underrated guard and one of the most underrated guards in college basketball because people just didn't see him. And he averaged 14, 4 and 4 or something. And This year, he's every bit as good. He's every bit as athletic. He's built like a truck, and he's so athletic. Joe Girard has gotten some structure, and you're seeing how good he can be under a little bit of structure. There hasn't been a ton of structure at Syracuse over the last 4 or 5 years. Offensively, defensively, they're going to play zone. Offensively, it was basically a quick set to get one guy a ball and then let that dude cook. Now you're seeing Girard function within an offense where he's attacking closeouts. He's able to come off screens, knock down shots. He was just toying with Boise State, just toying with them. And we all know that PJ Hall is really good, and they've had some other guys step up. So it's not a surprise. When you have 3 really, really good players, and then the rest can kind of fill around, and you have a good game from this guy, a good game from that guy, you're going to win a lot of ball games.
Yeah, I'm not sure what their ceiling is, but I think that they are, at least from what I've seen, and I've watched them play 3 games now, a top 4 team in the ACC, and I can say that pretty confidently. Like
I picked them 3rd.
Yeah,
I picked him 3rd coming into the year. Just because PJ's an all ACC player of the year contender, a legit one. Now, I'm not just saying that, a legit player of the year guy, and then Chase Hunter's an all league type of player. And we all have known Joe Girard's that level of scorer. So there's a lot of pieces there to like.
Yeah. Here's the one thing that I'll say is that I think Duke is still probably the favorite to win the ACC. And if they're not, I think Miami is probably the favorite to win the ACC. It's one of those 2. I think they're the top 2, right? Mm-hmm. Then you give me North Carolina, Virginia, and Clemson. And I think you can kind of throw all 3 of those teams in a hat and figure it out from there. I probably would have UNC, Clemson, Virginia right now. If you would have asked me before Wisconsin hit them with a 24 ball, I would have probably had Virginia, North Carolina, Clemson in that order. If you would have asked me on Sunday night after I watched Clemson beat up on Boise State, I probably would have gone Clemson, Virginia, North Carolina. So they're all good, man. There's a top 5 in that league that's really, really good.
Going to learn a lot about North Carolina in the month of December. What was it? December, November 29th, Tennessee, Kentucky, Oklahoma. Then they have an off game against Charleston Southern. And then, that's a December to remember right there.
Excuse me.
You're going to find out a lot.
Excuse me. Fanta, he just missed the biggest game that they got.
UConn. Sorry, I skimmed right over it. Sorry. UConn.
Yeah, but the biggest game for me. So agree with all that. All right. On Thanksgiving Day, the biggest game of the day for me is, and I hope we get this game, but because we might not. No disrespect to Northern Iowa, who's playing Carolina, and Pop Isaacs and Grant McCaslin's Texas Tech team, which will be tough. They're going to be tough to Villanova. That's going to be an interesting game. But if both Nova and Carolina move on, we get a rematch of the 2016 national championship game on Thanksgiving in Atlantis. In Atlantis, everybody's talking about Arizona and Michigan State, and don't get me wrong, it's fun. There's a couple
what yesterday was? Yesterday was Chris Jenkins' birthday. Shout out to Chris Jenkins.
Shout out.
That is a random known fact right there.
Yeah, you're only getting that on our pod. Happy birthday, Chris Jenkins. Big Smooth was his nickname in college. That's the best college nickname that you could ever have. Okay.
Not Big Smooth. How do you spell it? Tell them how you spell it. It's not Big Smooth. It's Big Smooth.
Smooth. Smoove.
Legend. Chris Jenkins, the legend.
If we get Carolina Villanova, that is as good of a measuring stick game at this stage of the season that you're going to find, because we're trying to figure out exactly what both those teams are. Mm-hmm. That's huge. Huge if that happens in Atlantis on Thanksgiving Day.
I love it. I love an Armando Bacot, Eric Dixon matchup.
Oh, let's go.
Terrific.
Go. I should not be as excited about that as I am. Here's the best part about it, Fanta. If that game happens, you know what time the tip-off is?
Fire.
2 o'clock.
Perfect.
Do you know what happens exactly after that game ends? 2 hours after that tip-off.
Arizona, Michigan State.
On what network?
Fox.
Let's go. Fox. Let's go, baby. Let's go. That is going to be a great day of basketball. I love Feast Week, guys. I fucking love it. It's awesome. Much. I love it so much. I love that Saturday or that Thursday on Thanksgiving where all you do is just sit there and you start drinking in the morning and all you do is eat as much as you possibly can. You watch sports all day and you fall asleep at like 11 o'clock. Like, it's just unbelievable day. Top 5 day in the calendar year. Might even be top 3.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And I actually give, I think that college hoops is really smart to get involved on Thanksgiving Day. Back like 10, 15 years ago, the Maui would wrap up Wednesday, and then there was a bit of a lull. Atlantis has filled that lull in the back half of the week, but the sport is really engaged in Thanksgiving. And to your point, we talked about this on After Dark a couple nights ago, but yes, I'm going to tout the company I do games for, but it was a smart move by Fox to have Michigan State play a game on Thanksgiving Day after the Detroit Lions play on Fox.
Ooh.
So from a ratings perspective, that
wasn't a coincidence, Fanta.
It's not a coincidence. So you credit Steve Shear.
Yeah, shout out Stevie for making that one happen.
For making that game come to life.
Fun fact about Steve Shear, his great nephew plays on the same travel baseball team as my son. And his great nephew can rake. Let me tell you, that kid has got a swing on him. T.O. He's going to be a really good ball player. All right.
That kid plays whatever position he wants.
Yeah, exactly. That's you're not kidding, man. He's a stud. All right. Let's get into some of the segments that we're going to do today. I want to start with this. The biggest surprise so far in the 2023-24 college basketball season. T.O., don't you dare say Clemson. Don't you do it.
I had a hard time with teams, so I went with a couple of players. Dalton Knecht at Tennessee. Dude, really good. We knew he was athletic. We saw that dunk at Michigan State during the exhibition season, which Rob Dauster coincidentally hates. And then his ability to score, he gives Tennessee a go-to guy who can do it with the ball or without it. Like, he is tough. I love that kid. And then Carlton Carrington from Pitt is two-time ACC Rookie of the Week. Didn't see this coming. I thought he was a really –
Bob Carrington, right?
Yep. I didn't see that coming. He was a really good shooter when I saw him at Peach Jam. I thought he was going to be able to make shots, and now he's running point full-time and just getting buckets. So good for him. Team, I'm going James Madison because of James Madison. And after watching what happened on College Game Day with 25,000 deep, that university has momentum. So I figured I wanted to shout out James Madison. Matt Buckland's a friend of mine. We worked together at Clemson. He's now an assistant, and he's going to stick his fingers in Coach Izzo's mashed potatoes next time they're hanging out at the family barbecue.
I didn't know where you're going with that. I'm glad it was mashed potatoes.
Yep, mashed potatoes.
Fanta, biggest surprise in college basketball this season. As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook for this college basketball season. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks and predictions throughout the college basketball season. And we are going to have special offers for you, the listeners and the viewers on the Field of 68 each and every week during the season. If you haven't signed up with BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FIELD1500 and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager on BetMGM Sportsbook. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD1500. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FIELD1500 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today.
Well, I have two teams, and there could be some recency here, but the first team is the last game that we all watched in the sport, which was late last night as we're doing this podcast. And the first team is UCLA, because I was genuinely surprised with what I saw. We all knew that they would eventually be good. They're really good right now. And they could be a great team by the time March rolls around. They didn't get anything from Burke. Oh, and I had
Buchtenschel.
Gosh, damn it. I went over this before the show for Buchtenschel, right?
Buchtenschel, yeah.
Okay, in the pronunciation guide, it says Buchtenschel.
Yeah,
Buchtenschel.
Yeah, Buchengel.
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 I mean, every broadcaster is going to last night they called him Burke the whole game. Buchengel.
Yeah.
Smart. Burke.
Buchengel did not score in the game. He didn't, but he impacted the game defensively. And Mick Cronin's comparing him to Jaime Jaquez. That's Mick Cronin. Shout out, okay? Last year told me, guess when he found out that Jaime would be really good? In Jaime's freshman season at the Maui Invitational.
Mm-hmm.
So as this tournament goes on, let's see if Burke gets better and better and starts to score. Defensively, engaged, made the right plays. But he wasn't who impressed me the most. Guys, Sebastian Mack was big time.
Yes.
He got to his spots. He accelerated. He changed the pace of the game. I'll tell you what, between him and Lazar Stefanovic, like Adim Bona is a beast. Bona is a beast. We knew that. But I like their guards and the upside there. UCLA, pleasant surprise. I like them more than I thought I would like them. And they defended Marquette at an incredibly high level. They forced Marquette's complementary players to make shots. And they did. We'll get to that. The other surprise is Mississippi State. To start the season, missing multiple key pieces, and to be able to start it with a dominant win over Arizona State. You've got wins over Washington State now, a good Northwestern team, and they just defend. They absolutely defend their tails off. Again, they're missing Tolu Smith. It doesn't matter. Chris Jans figures out ways to win. I mean, look at the Northwestern game. Josh Hubbard comes off the bench, drills 4 threes, shoots 9 of 14 from the floor, and scores 29 points in the game. Mississippi State, guys, Chris Jans in a season and a couple of games has done as good of a job as any coach in the country in the past 15 months at establishing a groundwork for his program. Not an easy place to win, and he's winning a lot.
I got a couple. Mississippi State was the team that I have written down too, and here's why. For starters, last year they were quite literally the worst 3-point shooting team in Division I, 363rd out of 363 teams. You know what he went and did in the portal this year? He went out and got Josh Hubbard, a guy that was the career leading scorer in the state of Mississippi, 4,367 points. They call him the TO of Mississippi. That's what they call him down there.
He's built like a truck, that kid.
Yeah.
But wasn't he committed to Seton Hall originally? Or was Seton Hall on his...
It was something
they were
that.
On his final list or something like that. Like there was something, there was a Seton Hall connection there for a second.
Jans told me in the offseason, and I feel comfortable saying this now because the season had already started. He said that he doesn't allow the football team to come in and watch practices because he's afraid that they would steal Josh Hubbard from him and play him at cornerback.
Yeah.
So that was funny. But so this year, they're shooting threes at about a 33% clip, which is good, not great. But they are attempting a top 53-point rate in all of college basketball, which means 45% of their field goal attempts are from beyond the arc. So he went out and got Josh Hubbard. He went out and got Trey Fort, who is a bucket getter as well. He went out and he got Andrew Taylor, and he got guys that can make shots and space the floor. So he fixed what was wrong with that team. And if you go back and look at Chris Jans' best teams when they were at New Mexico State, he had top 20 teams in the country in 3-point rate. So he got shooters. And once you get your best player back in Tolu Smith, look out. That Mississippi State team is going to be really, really good. The other team that I had written down, or the other guy that I had written down for the biggest surprise, Jaden Ledee, man. He's averaging 27 and 11 through 5 games.
About damn time.
San Diego State's a top 20 team in America. And how about this? I didn't realize it until I looked it up this morning. Did you know BYU is 14th on KenPom right now?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if that's going to last. I don't think that it'll last. But San Diego State going on the road and losing to BYU does not look like a bad loss in any kind of way right now at this point in the season. So we'll see if that continues. But
no, wait a minute. It'll never be a bad loss.
Never will be. Because
the Big 12's metrics.
Yes.
If you're in the Big 12, it's like getting free perks, it's like a special club. When you're in the Big 12, you can't be awful because for 3 months, you're playing nothing but good teams.
Yep. And rising tide.
There's going to be some correction there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
but
will be.
it's the
but-
worst team in the Big 12 is going to have a Ken Palm of 75.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's awful in that league.
Yeah.
I mean, Oklahoma State's gotten off to a rough start, but
Yeah, they were missing.
West Virginia's been
Small.
bad.
Yeah, and
West Virginia had a bad loss last night.
because they're missing like 3 guys. You know, they don't have Raekwon Battle. They don't have the reason why we thought they were going to be good is because you got Kirk Creasy, you got Raekwon Battle, and you got Jesse Edwards. Well, 2 of those guys aren't playing.
Yeah.
And you don't really have any guards. All right.
UCF isn't going to be great.
I got one more fun fact for you guys. I want to see if anyone can get this. All right. It's a little bit of trivia. Jaden Ledee, the last person to average the numbers that he is averaging right now. He's averaging 26.8 points and 10.6 boards. The last player to put up those numbers on a team that started 4-1 in their first 5 games is, you guys know?
That sounds like a Tyler Hansbrough stat.
Same year. That's happened the same year that Tyler won the national title.
Wow.
It was the guy that went neck and neck with him for National Player of the Year that year and actually ended up winning National Player of the Year.
Can't remember.
Blake Griffin at Oklahoma.
I was going to guess him.
His sophomore season. So that's the kind of year that Jaden Ledee is having right now. Did I just project Jaden Ledee?
He's talented enough.
Yeah, he is. He's a bucket.
Like we've all just kind of been sitting and waiting for Jaden Ledee and those massive arms to start scoring, and I'm glad it's finally clicked. Hopefully,
his shoulders, like they're as wide. You know when you drive past those pickup trucks that have like the triple tires on the outside of them, that's what his shoulders look like on his body. It's just like they shouldn't be that wide. How are your shoulders that wide? How is
Jaden
your frame
Ledee,
like this?
a human dually?
All right.
You know what a dually is?
I do not know what a dually is. Do I want to know what a dually is?
Man. So dually is when you see a truck and it's got 2 wheels on the back. You call it a dually. That's a truck.
Okay.
So like if you're looking at trucks and you say, what kind of truck do you? Well, I need a lot of power.
Like dually, like dually.
Yeah, dually.
I thought you meant like Dooley, like Joe Dooley, like
Dooley.
Yeah,
Dooley.
And I've never heard of that. That's I like how we learn more.
You need a flatbed. You need a flatbed dually if you're going to take a bunch of horses.
Well, the best part was a flatbed drove right by you as you were talking about it.
Yeah,
damn Skippy.
on your beautiful.
Hey, not many dualies in this neighborhood. I think we got the biggest truck in the neighborhood. So
yeah,
the Clampetts moved in.
All right. Biggest disappointment this year, Fanta. We'll go to you first on this one.
Well, you got to be disappointed with Maryland. I mean, they've got 3 losses and they got smacked at Villanova. I mean, Kevin Willard is now 0-7 their lifetime. It's been a house of horrors for him. But man, oh man, they just don't look like themselves at all. I mean, they're not playing. They're not in any flow. And they are counting on freshmen Jamie Kaiser and Deshaun Harris-Smith to step up here. And I think that I don't know if it's that we overestimated them, but I think that they'll eventually figure it out. But they're just the same issue of last year. Last year, it was amazing that they made the round of 32 guys because they were one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the country. And they still are. Other big disappointments. Let's face it. I'm disappointed by Michigan State. I'm disappointed. Because when we talked about them ahead of the season, we had these expectations. I don't think, like, to the people who, and maybe you guys will disagree with me, they are not one of 7 or 8 national title contenders for me at all. And I don't think they're ever going to get there because the same issues that existed last year exist this year. And then my other disappointment, and last but not least, I'm very disappointed by St. Mary's.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck?
They miss Logan Johnson. They really, really miss Logan Johnson, a guy that can create for others. They got a bunch of guys that can create for themselves. They miss a guy that can create for others.
I don't disagree, and you're right on Logan Johnson. I like him. But they got drubbed by Xavier on Sunday, who could finish 7th in the Big East. And maybe they'll be better than that. But right now, if you ask Sean Miller, he would tell you where his team's at, and he'd say, we're not where I want to be right now. In fact, we're not even close. St. Mary's, you brought back too much talent. I know you're missing Logan Johnson, but you cannot. They scored 49 points, T.O., against Xavier, a young Xavier team. That was a rough performance by the Gales.
I had the Big Ten as a whole, T.O., for my biggest disappointment.
No kidding.
Just the Big Ten period. You want to take it? Go ahead.
No. You go ahead. Go ahead. I think I'm going to surprise you a little bit because I wasn't really high on this team to begin with, and I have two.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. You go first.
Yeah, sorry, but so the first one, because the build-up, the promise by the new coach that they're going to win championships in the big city, and I understand. I kind of saw this coming, to be honest with you. But St. John's,
come on.
But St. John's, look, you come in, the expectations are that big. You're sending letters saying championships are coming to New York, and then you lay an egg against Michigan at home. You finally get that big Patino game there at the Garden. You lose by 16. Then you go down, you lose to a Dayton team that is comparable in talent. But they're missing their point guard for the season. And then you beat a Utah team that's, I think, is a good team, but I think it's a matchup nightmare for Utah because the way St. John's plays, they get up underneath. The only reason I'm saying it like this, guys, is because of the hype that was coming in and because of the buildup that was led up by their own program. So to start out 3-2, I consider it a little bit of a disappointment, not a massive one, but a little bit of one. You could see this was going to happen. The roster wasn't where it was going to be. I was sending John text messages. I was like, guys, I appreciate the hype, but this roster is not where it's going to be in 2 years.
Because do you think they'll make the tournament this year?
I think it's going to be really hard.
I don't.
I think it's going to be hard.
They need to take a big step forward in the next.
And I think it also comes down to how many teams get into the tournament from the Big East.
I think it'll be.
And that's a conversation we don't necessarily want to have right now. But right now, you're looking at a 4-5 bid. I think.
I would set the line.
They will not lose another non-conference game.
I would set the line at 5.
I would hope not. But the other team is. I thought Cal would be better. They brought in Fardaz Amick. They brought in Jalen Tyson, two really talented guys, and they dropped a game to Pacific, who's 227th on KenPom. They drop one to Montana State, who's 268 on KenPom. They drop one to UTEP. I thought that would get going, especially in that non-conference portion. I thought they would win some games, and they've started out 2-3. So there's two.
Yeah, so I wrote the Big Ten as the most disappointing one outside of Purdue. I think Purdue is living up to the expectations. Full disclosure, we are recording this right before Purdue and Tennessee play in the Maui Invitational in the semifinals. So this may be a very dumb take if Tennessee 20 pieces them here coming up, but Wisconsin has not been as good as I thought they were going to be. Michigan State has been disappointing to me. Michigan, after I spent a whole fucking week hyping them up, goes out and loses at home to Long Beach State. Come on, guys. Doug McDaniels, you're killing me. I was trying to put you in the Final Four, and you go out here and give up 94 points to Long Beach State. That's a disappointment. Ohio State has not been as good as I thought they were going to end up being. Maryland is 1-3 on the season. Rutgers lost at home to Princeton, who might actually be like a top 20 team in America. Indiana has not looked good. Like the Big Ten is just outside of Purdue is just not very good at all.
The bubble is gonna be soft.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very soft. It's gonna be soft. You're going to have like a 17-14 team make it.
You know what I hope? What I really want to have happen? Like, I want this to extend down to like the Mountain West. You know what I mean? Like, there are some good teams at the top of the Mountain West. San Diego State has proven themselves to be really good. I think Colorado State is going to eventually, down at the Hall of Fame Classic right now in Kansas City. They got Boston College on Wednesday night. I think that Nevada's real. Like Keenan Blackshear is a dude. Tio, you got some Mountain West games this year, right? Like you're gonna like watching film on Keenan Blackshear. I think Boise State is gonna figure things out. I know they just lost at Clemson, but I think they're gonna be fine. Tyson Degenhart got in foul trouble early, and Tyson Degenhart realized really quickly how good PJ Hall actually is when he ran up against them. So
yeah, really good.
Yeah, really good.
The only issue, so I agree with you. The Mountain West is a good league and should get an extra bit, if not two, for how good it is, right? Last year, I think we remember this, there were a number of games in that league, unfortunately, that became, in if they win, out if they lose type of games, because you open up. It's early, but San Diego State is the only team in the Mountain West that's in the top 40 of KenPom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, if you're a conference, you have to have great at the top if you're going to get an extra bid or two, in my opinion. Why?
Because you got to have teams that'll grab one from that top. Yeah.
And that's why I counter you on St. John's, and we can do a friendly wager, but I think that they will make it because, as you just said, you hope not, that they don't lose another non-conference game. I don't think they're going to. And so they're going to be, 9-2, 10-2 through non-conference play? If you go 9-2 or 10-2 and 10-10 in the Big East, you're going to make it this year.
This is where we need to talk about Vaulted. Vaulted is an app that allows you to participate in daily cash prize pools without an entry fee. It is the place you can store your own predictions forever. And by using the Vaulted Challenge feature, you can prove that you are smarter than your friends and the people that you also hate, like Jeff Goodman. So go download the Vaulted app for free. It is spelled VLTED. And challenge your friends, store your predictions, and join daily cash prize pools without an entry fee. Goodman, here's the challenge that I have for you. I know that St. John's has already lost 2 games. I know they lost to Dayton. I know they lost at home to a Michigan team that you think is horrible, and I still think is actually pretty good. I am challenging you that St. John's is going to make it to the NCAA tournament still. Rick Pitino is going to find an answer here. Do you accept my challenge?
No, I agree with you. I'm not betting against Rick Pitino. He's got a completely different team. He doesn't have RJ Luis, who's hurt right now. I don't know if he's got a dude, but I'm not sure he needs a dude to be able to get in the NCAA tournament. So I'm with you on this one. I'm not going against you.
Might. We'll see.
No, you're going to.
We'll see. I'm not sure that 10-10 in the Big East is something that's given, but we'll find out.
I don't think that's getting in, but maybe.
Speaking about the Big East, Fanta, you were in Madison Square Garden last night. You saw UConn win another championship. All they do is just go out there and win championships. They are the Empire Classic champions. They're going to hang that banner up there. And, you're going to have like 5 men's basketball championships banners, and you're going to have 11 women's basketball championships banners, and you're going to have the Empire Classic championship banner up there, right?
Fanta ran the funniest preseason Big East thing. I was in Milwaukee and I was listening to the spaces that you were doing, and then UConn fans were chiming in like, "Hey, John, just wanted to pick your brain. First time, long time, all that. Are we going to win every game by double figures, or are we going to flirt around and win some by 5?"
I know.
It was so funny. I'm by myself in a room laughing.
So what do you guys make of UConn, fan? Let's go to you first on this one, just because you were in the building. You saw them play the last 2 days. Reigning national champions. They looked really damn good for about the first 70 minutes in Madison Square Garden. And then I think some of the concerns that I have with them at least popped up a little bit down the stretch of that game against Texas.
Yes, for sure. Now, mind you, Stephon Castle did not play. In either of these 2 games. So you're missing a key piece. Some of those concerns arose, and you have to give Texas a lot of credit. That's the best Dylan Mitchell's ever played. He was superb for Texas. That's the Dylan Mitchell we thought we would see here throughout the whole season. And Rodney Terry said it after the game. We need Dylan Mitchell to do that every day. He goes, we've been talking
as a small ball 5, and he will, instead of playing him as a wing. He's not a wing. He's a small ball 5.
Yep. Max Asmus and Tyrese Hunter are having.
I saw that look, T.O.
6'8", 205 is a small ball 5 in the Big 12's tough.
Yeah, it is. Max Asmus and Tyrese Hunter are trying to figure it out. They're having trouble fully gelling, but Texas avoided turnovers in their 2 days of the Empire Classic. I think part of it is, guys, like, yes, some of the concerns arose in the last 10 minutes of the game, and they let their foot off the gas, proverbial gas, if you will. I also just think it's really hard to do what they've done here the last 2 years against non-conference opponents. They still won the game by 10. And Cam Spencer, to me, underneath it all, has been such a good ad via the portal.
Yes.
But to me, the most revealing thing of last night, as we're doing this show, is Samson Johnson. I texted Rob this. Like, I think there's a world where there's NBA upside to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Ultra athletic, explosive defense, he runs like a deer and leaps like he's on a pogo stick. Connecticut is right there. They're still in the upper echelon of teams. That's not a shock. This team is as good as anybody in the country. They're at their best. On their best day, and everybody right now is having mixed days. We're not seeing anybody just dominate. As we're doing this show, the Maui semifinals are tonight. Nothing would surprise me. If any of the 4 teams won, it wouldn't surprise me. In other words, there's no clear cut. UConn is as good as anybody in the country when they're on. And this team showed it the last couple of days. They are fully capable of doing what Florida did. Donovan Clingan apparently was sick last night, and he played 13 minutes. He was a non-factor in the game, and it didn't matter because Samson Johnson took the torch and was terrific. This team's really good.
Theo?
No, I love it. Big, physical, super athletic, pretty much from top to bottom. They got 3 guys in their lineup at almost all times that just don't make mistakes. Caravan doesn't make mistakes, period. Doesn't make mistakes. That is so valuable. Tristan Newton has become more solid. He had 3 turnovers yesterday, but that was to go along with 8 assists. You're going to turn it over some. And then, to be honest with you, too, let's see, Cam Spencer, while he's not Jordan Hawkins, what you get the entirety of the game. Mm-hmm. So he's not super. He's the one guy in that lineup that's not super athletic. And I would argue that Caravan's not a superior athlete either. He's an okay athlete, but he's not a superior athlete. But what you're getting from Cam Spencer the entire time. He is like this. He is just steady, solid the entire time. That allows for some explosive components to really have big games, right? Because what you're getting from 3 guys on the floor. So even though my argument earlier this year was, well, they went from really old and really talented to really young and really talented, having 3 guys on the floor, or at least 2 at a time that aren't going to make mistakes, is a great crutch for those other super talented guys. Solomon Ball, out of all those freshmen that came to campus, he was the most physically ready. And while I didn't think he would necessarily be that great of a shooter, he's making him good enough. And he just fits exactly what Hurley likes to do. Extremely physical, can defend, plays in transition. And I mean, just a blur when it comes to if they're getting back on defense, he can collapse and help figure things out quickly as a freshman. I agree with John. On UConn's best day, they can win against anybody in college basketball. Again, it's just those 3 guys. Those 3 guys right there allow those other ones to kind of hobble their way into figuring it out.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've come down to too. What I said in the preseason was 3 things needed to happen, right? Tristan Newton needed to be like an all Big East caliber player. And I think that he's kind of taken that step forward, especially with his efficiency offensively. Alex Caravan needed to be an all Big East caliber player and not just a guy that was like a spot up shooter. He needed to be able to create some shit on his own. And I think that you saw that last night. Now, I don't think you want to rely on him taking those tough fadeaways and those tough pull-ups at the end of a shot clock, but if you need him in a moment to be able to get it done and go win a game, he just showed that he could do it. And the last thing was defensively, and I'm still a little bit worried about them because Tristan Newton, Cam Spencer, Alex Caravan, none of them are elite athletes, right? They're good positional defenders. They have good size. We saw Dylan Mitchell and Malik Reneau just go at Caravan at the 4 spot this weekend. Same thing that happened last year. So
we're in perfect agreement there.
Yeah,
he's just not Caravan's not an NBA upside guy, but he's going to be a great college player for 4 years.
I think he is an NBA upside guy. If the shooting gets to the point where he
has to be 45%.
Yes,
because he is going to get torched at the NBA level. I forgot how good NBA 4s are. Yeah. NBA 3-4s. Holy shit. And it's guys that are just so fast in their first step at 6'8", 6'9". I forgot. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, yeah, he has to be an unbelievable shooter to get it done, but I still think he's going to end up getting drafted. And Yeah, so that's my concern is defensively, and I think we got exposed a little bit more because Steph Castle wasn't there. Steph Castle can guard literally anyone 1 through 4, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's the thing about him is that he's the best defender on that roster, and
So explosive.
yeah, and not having him changes some things. But Spencer's the one that's been an eye opener for me. Like I knew he was good. I didn't realize how good of a passer he is, how good he is at coming off of DHOs and off of ball screens and making something happen. Always
Awesome
in
at
the right
keeping
spot.
simple stuff simple.
Yes.
Like that is such a
Yes.
skill. Just keeping the simple shit simple. There's so many kids that try to make stuff so much harder than what it needs to be. He sees Caravan trailing. He attacks the top of the key. He jump stops. He turns and he just pitches it to Caravan. Wide open 3, top of the key. He comes off they run a pick and roll. He's the raise guy. He positions a little bit differently, so he's closer to the rim to where he can attack. Something simple because his guy forgot about him for a half second. So good at angles. Just an older dude that's competitive that knows how to play. Like there was a time Texas loved running this kind of like it was kind of a baseline stagger that turned into a zoom, and A-Smith would come off and he's chasing A-Smith. And while Jordan Hawkins would be there, like he would be there, that the difference is Cam would be a second, not even a second, a half second late. A-Smith would get the corner, but because Cam's so smart, he pursues the ball. So like he still makes shit difficult, even though he's not that athletic. I mean, a really, really good college player. Really good.
Yeah, he is a 42-year-old father of 3 playing at the Y that also happens to be doing it at a Big East level. So
him and Ben Carlson both are 30. The kid from Utah, 7-footer. Dude, fun fact, huge Big Carlson fan. Huge. The steps out, shoots it. Really good player. He's been married 4 years. he went on a Mormon mission, used a red shirt year, and now he's a red shirt senior. He is so old. He's so old. They're like, I was reading his bio. It was like he's going to be he celebrates his 4-year anniversary this March. I was like, holy shit, he's been married as long as I have. Unreal. Sorry.
He's been married longer than a normal college basketball player is in college.
Been married 3 years longer than Fanta.
That's amazing. There are some of those guys that exist.
All right, T.O., I told you
at Georgetown's like on his 8th year of college.
Yeah, there's a kid that's at Coppin State now that's in his 8th year of college basketball. It's wild, man.
Seth Towns got his waiver at Howard.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's insane. I mean, that really is insane.
All right, Tio, I made you watch the game, so I just want your thoughts on it. UCLA, Marquette. UCLA was.
I watched all these games we talked about for what it's worth. I got up and just dropped the kids off and started watching these games. Because last week I felt kind of bad because I felt like I was just overwhelmed. So I was like, "The hell with this! I'm going to make sure I watch every one of these." You know what? That was a man's game, incredibly physical. And what I took away from it was UCLA is a surprise team, kinda. I'm a little worried about where their score is going to come from with consistency because, they had one guy score 23 points, 24 points, and then the rest of the guys, it was just kind of a significant drop off. Sebastian Mack's really good. I was impressed with Dylan Andrews. I thought he did some really good things. Not an overly athletic team, but I came away watching Marquette move the ball. Sometimes a style of play from an opponent can highlight your strengths so well. And watching Adem Bona chase the ball and get from one spot to another at his size was fascinating. He is so big and so athletic and covers so much ground so quick. It was entertainment just watching him try to close out. Obviously, some of their runs, Fanta alluded to this one in our text chain, but I thought it was very telling, and I think it's a very good sign for Marquette that some of their biggest runs came with Sean Jones manning the point. Some of their biggest things during the game happened with Chase Ross out there making good things happen. Cam Jones got in foul trouble, and he still had an efficient night, and they just found different guys to come in and make an impact with consistency. They played 10 guys or 9 guys, 8 of which made a positive impact on the game. I thought if I'm a Marquette fan, I'm very happy with that game because UCLA's huge. They're still figuring themselves out, but I thought Marquette was tough. Oso Ighodaro, man. The dude can't throw it in the ocean with his feet in the water, but damn it, he does everything else. He does everything else. He is so good. If he can shoot, he's an NBA player. He just can't shoot. Like he might be an NBA player anyway.
Yes.
That's how good he is.
He had one play in the second half, guys, where
that baseline dunk.
The second one though, where like they came on the dribble handoff, right? And he had like a split second hesitation where his defender and the guy chasing the dude running off the DHO couldn't see the ball in his hand and hesitated just enough that both guys went with the guy coming off the DHO, and he took one dribble and just fucking yammed it on and I think it was Burke at the rim. And there was another one where he drove on the baseline on it. Like he is a freak, man.
He's going to make some money. He's going to make some money. I don't know where the hell it's going to be, but he's going to make some money. Like
so is it Dembona. Like watching those two go at it was so much.
The Amari Stoudemire comparison's not as far off as I originally dismissed it to be.
Yeah,
it is not that far off. He needs to develop a jump shot because when Amari got to New York, he kind of developed this top of the key jump shot to where he could space it just enough. And the game's changed since that roster was there. But like that athleticism, the ability to cover so much space so quickly in a half court setting. Ooh, and he plays with an edge. God, he's good. He is really good. And he's being featured more this year, which makes it more fun for him. And, scouts can watch that even more.
More fun for us to watch him, man. I'm not going to complain.
Hell yeah.
Ever. He dunked on Cam Jones where he put a knee in Cam Jones' jaw. Like,
it was awesome.
That was one of those ones where, Cam, you got to make a business decision, man. Like they don't call charges anymore. You're never going to get
don't you love that? Don't you love
that
this year?
I love it. No charges, banned the charge, and Cam tried to take one and literally got jumped over, got a knee in his face. It was the worst poster I've seen so far this season. Cam,
it was awesome, and there was another one too.
Way, man.
Yeah, Oso had one. I think it was Sebastian Mack who tried to take a charge because like he had no other options.
Yeah,
and it was so relieving just to be like, thank God the refs didn't call that a charge.
Yes,
it was like a breath of fresh air. Like, thank God this game's going to keep moving. We're not going to reward nonsense because I feel like over the past 50 years of college basketball, we've just been rewarding nonsense with these charges.
Yeah, stand in the way, don't make a play, and you win. All right,
here's my go-to.
I have an that's what you got to do. I have an updated list of the 10 teams that can win a national championship.
No Purdue.
And I want you guys to, that's why we're going to talk about it right here. That's why you guys are, I want you guys to react to this. I want you guys to
did it. We did it.
What?
Did what?
I have gone over 10 minutes without talking. You two did not realize it. You just talked for 10
How's it feel, John?
Seconds.
How's it feel?
It was amazing.
How's it feel? John, how's it feel?
10 and a half minutes.
John, how does it feel?
Well,
how does it feel, John?
We got to about 5, and I'm like, I'm going to put the timer on here for 11:59 and see if they're still talking. I have sat here like this for 10 minutes.
All right, look, you know what? You can react first to this. So here's my list of 10 teams.
All right, here we go.
All right. I have 3 tiers on this. The first tier is Purdue, Kansas, Arizona, and Houston. I think those are the top 4 teams in the country. I don't think it's that much of a gap between the next tier, but for me, those are the top 4. Fanta, right or wrong?
Right. Purdue, Kansas, Arizona, Houston. I respect it. I think that you are correct in that tier A. I would argue for maybe a swap of Arizona or Houston. I'm not ready to crown Houston quite yet. I think they're really, really good. But if I may, I would consider, only because of Houston's scoring depth. I still have some concerns if Shed or Cryer have an off day. Mm-hmm. Like Houston coasted through the Charleston Classic, but if you look at the 3 teams that they were playing, I felt like that they didn't get a massive test. I got to be candidly honest with you. So I would swap them out and put UConn. I would potentially put UConn in Tier A actually today.
Interesting. Braden Smith, guys, has been fantastic. I thought he was sensational. Really good. There's not high enough praise that I can give him, Fanta, for the I'm going right back to him. Sorry, Tio. We've been talking too much. There's not enough praise.
Let him go. Let him cook.
Fanta cook. Braden Smith. Let's go.
Braden Smith is spectacular. I mean, he is one of the best point guards in America. And he plays with a swagger. He initiates things. But to me, the biggest thing with Purdue is Lance Jones, Miles Colvin. They have more weapons for him to be able to feed it off to. And your assist count's going to go up when you're making shots, when the players you're connecting with are able to hit. But guys, he's savvy. He's all throughout Purdue's journey last year. It struck us that they were doing it with freshman guards. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't strike us that those freshmen who are now sophomores are maturing and have matured. They are so beyond their classification in school, in basketball experience, because of how much they played last season. So I love Braden Smith. I cannot wait to see him face DeJuan Harris in the Maui, hopefully in the Maui championship game. But I can't wait to see him first play Zakai Ziegler and Santiago Vescovi, because I'm just fascinated to see Tennessee's ball pressure against that. What was Purdue's biggest obstacle, fellas, as the season went on last year? Their guards really struggled with pressure. Great updated test for Smith and the Boilers. But guys, if Purdue wins the Maui Invitational, it will be because of Braden Smith. Zach Edey is a given. He's a given. Sorry, Zach, you're the best player in the country. So unfairly, we're taking your production for granted a little bit. Braden Smith is the straw that stirs that drink.
Mm-hmm. Tio, anything to add?
I thought it was really telling that Painter didn't go too much into his playbook. I think he's trying to let his guys figure it out a little bit. And they ended up beating Gonzaga by 10. If they don't have memory serves me, it was 12 or 13 turnovers. I think it was 13.
Yep.
If 6 or 7 of those were live ball, bonehead, what the hells? Like dribbling off your foot, faking a pass, ball slips out of your hands, stupid pass here, like turnover that leads to a layup. Like
you just named everything Fletcher Lawyer did in the game, basically.
Yeah, Fletcher Lawyer wasn't good last night. Late last night, he was past his bedtime. Poor Fletcher. No, but if they don't do that, they win by 25 points against a Gonzaga team that's not a typical Gonzaga team compared to what we've become accustomed to over X amount of years. But really good. I am intrigued to see them play Tennessee because of that pressure that Fanta alluded to. And not only that, they can throw different bodies at Braden. I don't know Zakai Ziegler's status. Is he going to be back for this one, or are they going to hold him out this entire thing?
No, he played yesterday, but he's coming off the bench now.
But not much, right? It was a limited amount.
Yeah, it was like 18. He's not back to. He's healthy. He's just not back to where. I mean, I think he got cleared in like mid-October. So
right. He wants to play more, but he's on a minute. That's right. It's on a minute restriction. I was watching that game while driving, so you guys tell me if that's safe. But
it is not safe.
No, he played what 22 minutes yesterday, and he had 6 turnovers. He's not there yet, but if you had a full strength Zakai Ziegler, then that would scare me a little bit if I was Purdue, because that guy can get underneath even Braden Smith, and then you can also throw a bigger body at him and a Jordan Gainey, or you switch if you decide to switch all the way through with Jemima Shack. Like this is a huge litmus test game for Purdue. Huge litmus test game.
All right, so that's a perfect segue, because my second tier of teams, which like honestly, like you could probably turn this into just a tier of 8, but the next group that I have is Creighton, Tennessee, Marquette, and UConn. In that next group, is there anyone in that group that you do not think can win a national title?
I think all those teams could win it. I mean, I have concerns with Tennessee offensively if Connect has a bad day. But because of Connect, Tennessee can win it. He unlocks a different dimension of that team offensively. I saw on
Jordan
Twitter
Gainey too. Jordan Gainey too.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Gainey too. But I saw somebody, and to your point, I saw somebody, a couple people tweet yesterday like Jordan Gainey and Dalton Connect are not what we've seen on Tennessee in years past, and they meant it in a slightly like, hey, these guys, like they've been on other teams, but Rick is kind of letting his offense loose, and I like that. It's not as scripted football. It's more natural ball movement and find the shooters. And Connect is, without Dalton Connect yesterday, guys, at the half, Tennessee was going to be in a tough spot. Like Syracuse outplayed them in that first half.
Surprise team too, by the way. I thought about putting them as a surprise team.
Yeah, I got buried for that last night at the Garden. They're like, what was impressive about Impress Row, our friends? We're like, what was impressive about them? I go, guys, they're like, they lost by 17. I'm like, guys, it was a 5-point game with 4 minutes to go.
That's 100% Jeff Borzello. There's no doubt about it in my mind. What was impressive about a 17-point loss?
He buried me.
100% Borzello.
He goes, you're telling me I have to be impressed. He goes, you don't tell me how to be impressed. Then he called me a very bad name.
That's very Borzello.
That is the most Borzello thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, all you had to say was, you're impressed by a 17-point loss. That is like Borzello said that more times than not because he doesn't watch games. He looks at box scores. Oh shit!
So that tier's good though. I can't wait. There's a game that I have circled on the calendar. December 16th, Creighton hosting Alabama.
That day, by the way, might be
the Aaron Estrada, Trey Alexander game.
That might be the best day of games that we get this entire season. Let me roll through to put this into context. Clemson plays at Memphis, and that's not a top 5 game of the day. We have Arizona against Purdue in Indianapolis. You have Alabama at Creighton. You have Kentucky and North Carolina playing in Atlanta in the CBS Sports Invitational. You have Baylor playing Michigan State in Detroit. You have Texas A&M playing Houston at the Toyota Center in Houston. You have UCLA playing Ohio State in the other CBS Sports Classic game. That is ridiculous. And you know what I haven't even mentioned yet? Kansas plays at Indiana that day. That is the best day of basketball we're going to get all season long. Like, that is up there with anything else that you're going to get during the regular season in the sport.
Don't forget Sixers at Hornets. Sixers at Hornets also on the 16th.
Yeah, you get to see my boy Tyrese Maxey lighting people up.
Yeah.
Fordham and St. John's at MSG FS1 3:30 Eastern time that Saturday. No, that day is unbelievable. The one of the sweet spots in college hoops is the 3 Saturdays of December before Christmas, the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th. There are great matchups.
Yep.
And I'll tell you this much, going back to Creighton for a moment, play this game with me for 30 seconds. Tomorrow, on Wednesday, they play Loyola Chicago. You think they'll win that game?
Mm-hmm.
Just play the game.
Yes.
So on Thanksgiving, they're going to play Boston College or Colorado State. Think they'll win that game?
They should.
Okay. They're going to be at Oklahoma State. You think they win that game?
They should.
December 3rd at Nebraska. Trap. Nebraska's better. Nebraska's better. Nebraska could be unbeaten going into that game. They play a soft schedule the next 2 games. That could be a battle of unbeatens in Lincoln. But if Creighton were to find a way to win that game, they then play Central Michigan, UNLV. Their last non-conference game is December 16th, that nationally broadcast game at home against Alabama. My point, it's not out of the question that Creighton could be undefeated going into a massive home game with Alabama to close out their non-conference. Then their stretch, listen to this stretch in December. Alabama home, Villanova, December 30th. It's a CBS game at Marquette.
Mm-hmm.
How much fun is that going to be to end the year? Creighton at Marquette, December 30th. That last Saturday of the year when you're kind of cuddled up on the couch, you got a glass of something, and you're just going to watch those 2 teams play offense. Are you kidding? Watch out. Creighton could go unbeaten in non-conference play. It's not out of the question.
Yeah, they very well could. All right, the last 2 teams I have on my list that can win a national title are Kentucky and Baylor. Are those 2 things crazy? I think Kentucky has the highest upside of any team not in the top 8 if they put it all together. There's no guarantee they're going to put it all together. And I'm saying that after they got taken to overtime at home by St. Joe's. I know what I'm saying to you. You don't have to give me that look. I know what I'm saying. But if Kentucky puts it all together, I don't know how many teams have as much firepower as they do on that end.
Go ahead, John.
I just don't see it. I don't, not for a title, not for a national championship. For them, they need to get to the second weekend. And then anything could happen in the tournament, but they got to get to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. This team's too talented for that. But the problem is,
it's so funny that we're talking about Kentucky in those terms again. Like normally, that's what you say about like someone that hasn't proven it. John Calipari went to like 4 Final Fours in 5 years, and now we're like, you got to get out of the first weekend, man. Like we can't even talk about you as a threat until you get out of the first weekend.
I'm sorry. I'll trade you. Can I trade? Can I make a trade?
Yeah,
I'm gonna make 2 trades. So I disagree with your last tier. I actually like Baylor a lot, but to be contrarian, I'll trade you Baylor and Kentucky for Miami, and I'm still bullish on Arkansas.
I don't hate the Miami one. I get Arkansas. I don't know.
You hate it.
I don't hate it. I just think that it's going to be one of those things where they end up getting like a 7 seed again this year. So it's just going to be a very, very difficult road.
Power rank the SEC for me.
There's like 7 teams at the top that are all awesome.
Amazing.
Like
hardly the power rank.
Yeah. I would say Tennessee is the best. I would say Alabama is right there after them. And then you can give me Auburn, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Kentucky, and probably Arkansas in any order. And I don't think I would argue with too much of it.
Wow. That's incredible. That league is really good. That league has a chance to be competing for the top conference. A chance. There's no question about it. It's 2. Clear 2.
Yep. They need Missouri.
No mention of Chris Beard down at Ole Miss.
He's not going to get the guys eligible. Like if you could guarantee that he would have Musa Cisse and the who's the kid that transferred from Georgetown? Why am I blanking on his name? Brandon Murray.
Harris. No.
Brandon Murray. Like if you guarantee that they get Brandon Murray and Musa Cisse, then I'm all the way in. But like I just don't think they quite have enough without those 2 guys. We'll see though.
Hey,
all right.
Quick shout out to South Carolina. They're 5-0 and improved.
Yes, They are very, very much better. T.O., do you have anyone else? Do you want to do a fan of swap there? You want to do a fan of trade for the last 2 spots on who can win a national title?
I agree with the upside of Kentucky. I don't winning a national championship is
suck it, Vanna.
Winning a national championship is a bit of a stretch. It is possible they make a Final Four because of the irrational confidence and offensive explosiveness of Reed Sheppard and Dillingham. And I feel like DJ Wagner's going to piece it together around mid-December.
Yeah, he was really good last night against St. Joe's, especially in the second half.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. Like their offensive firepower, the Dillingham Reed Sheppard's finally getting his due. Nobody talked about him. We were talking about all the other guys. Reed Sheppard's a dude. He is a dude, and like the offensive firepower is there. A national championship might be tough, but this is a group that if they start picking it up and playing full of confidence and bravado around March, like watch out.
All right. So to take us home here on this episode of the DTF podcast, make sure you rate, make sure you review, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. If you enjoy this and you want to support us, it's free content. All you got to do is just engage, rate, review, subscribe, comment, do all of that good stuff. Fanta, Sunday afternoon, something happened. Something happened in the city of Cleveland. Something happened on the football field. I want you to take us home. Take us away. And if you happen to mention a certain coach that happens to reside in the city of Cincinnati and remind them about what happened there, I don't think that I'd hate it. Take us home, baby. How about them Brownies?
How about the Cleveland Browns? 7-3 for the second time in the Kevin Stefanski era. Terrence, I know you want to talk about him. I know you're a member of the Dog Pound deep down inside.
Deep down.
So for the next 12 minutes, I'm going to talk about him. No, I'm just kidding. And they are a tough, hard-nosed, physical football team. Yes, I was watching them on Sunday in the Madison Square Garden press room. Yes, I did get stuck watching them as Louisville gave Texas a great game. So close for Kenny Payne. By the way, I didn't take your "you got tricked" comment that seriously. Coach Payne, I respect your team's efforts at the Garden. Keep that up, and maybe things are going a better direction.
They played their nuts off there, man. They played their nuts off.
Credit to those kids. They did. Now they got to sustain that.
Mm-hmm.
The Cleveland Browns are back. Like they are back. They are 7-3. They're doing this with a rookie quarterback. But guys, they fight every game. They're in every game. I'm in it, man. We are a half game out of the number one spot in the AFC. Thank you, Philadelphia Eagles, because the Chiefs took a third loss. The Cleveland Browns have the same amount of losses as the Chiefs, the Ravens, all those teams. And they do it with defense. Myles Garrett's the best player on the football field. They just got to keep grinding it out. But I like this team. I love this team. And I love that they sent Sean Miller's Pittsburgh Steelers back to Pittsburgh, taking those terrible towels and shoving them up you know where. I hate those yellow towels. I hate the hoo. A happy Thanksgiving to all you Browns fans. A happy Thanksgiving to all you college basketball fans. Here's to hoping that you have a second or third helping of stuffing and enjoy all of the college basketball that you're about to see. Let's see who's right. Let's see who's wrong about all these teams. And I can't wait till we talk about it next week, guys, and buy your significant others something really nice on Black Friday.